Hello everyone, I'm T-Dub and welcome to a new episode of TWK Reviews, and today we're taking a grand old look at Ratchet and Clank, the reboot, aka Ratchet and Clank 2016, or whatever you want to call it. We're taking a look at that video game that I just said, so we're going to be reviewing that. Should be a fun time, and I'm doing this mainly because I'm in a Ratchet and Clank mood. I just gotta get my Ratchet and Clank fix in somehow, and so we're doing so with this review. So, as many of you may know, this is a video game based off of a movie based off of a video game. Which sounds weird, but okay, let's actually try to put some sense into these words, alright? Let's actually try and make sense of all this. So first off, this is a video game based off of the Ratchet and Clank movie that I still have yet to see. I've heard some very not so good things about it, and having played this game, it doesn't really help my interest, to be honest. And that movie is based off of the first Ratchet and Clank game, except this is all just one big, huge reimagining. And even then, the plots of this video game and the movie are not one-to-one, because they're only allowed to use so many clips from the movie. Why? I don't know. That seems like a really weird rule. Nevertheless, they decide to, you know what? We're going to tell our own story in a way. And so we're going to have Captain Quark actually tell the story, so just in case there's any inconsistencies, just go with the fact that, hey, it's Captain Quark telling the story. You know, he's a very unreliable narrator. And going through this game, one of the things you'll notice straight off the bat, if you've played any of the old Ratchet and Clank games, is that Ratchet here has absolutely no edge whatsoever. Like, if you're just playing this game, just taking it on its own merits, Ratchet is a fine enough character. He's that sort of protagonist we've seen a million times where it's like, oh, he's the guy that just wants to do the right thing. He wants to be a hero. Just go out there, grab the world by its short hairs, and just show everyone that he's got what it takes. But that is not Ratchet. Ratchet, in the original series, is very much an edgelord, I guess you could say. Which, once again, isn't bad in and of itself, but if you're a fan for any stretch of time, you'll just feel really odd to play this game and just be like, oh, this just feels weird seeing Ratchet act in like this goody two-shoes type of manner. And some of these cutscenes, oh boy. Boy. If you thought Mass Effect Andromeda had some problems with stiff animation, you have not seen anything yet, because at least in that game you can actually think, oh, the characters are actually making eye contact with one another, but not here. This is easily the most robotic looking animations I have ever seen in any video game ever. Like, I can't even think of another video game that matches this, like, on any conceivable level. And even in the case of Mass Effect Andromeda, that at least has the excuse of being like a 60-hour RPG. This is like a 10-hour video game. What is going on here?
You did it! Congratulations! Here's your holo, guys. Do me a favor. When you use it, post your thoughts on the social medias. The kids love their social medias. Hashtag Gadgetron.
The only thing that I can come up with is that this game was rushed to meet the deadline of getting out before the movie did, to hype up the movie, to get people in theaters, and, well, this is the result. Oh, we gotta talk about the fact that Dr. Nefarious is in this, man. Like, in the original series, Dr. Nefarious was not introduced until the third game. And yet he has become the Joker of the series, where it's like, oh, if it's a Ratchet and Clank thing, we gotta throw in Dr. Nefarious, even if the original game did not have him at all, and you did not need to put him in here. Like, you could have had him as a background character. Like, that would have been fine, but no. By the end of the game, this mother effing fucker takes over as the main boss. Like, what? What? There's also the issue of Quark's redemption because, well, as it turns out, he turns heel on the team and joins up with the bad guys. But unlike in the original games, where it took him 3 whole games to finally redeem himself, here he does it all in just one. So with all my bitching, you must think I hate this game and have nothing positive to say whatsoever. Actually, that's where you're wrong, because there are some positives, like, for instance, the gameplay. It's actually refined compared to the older titles. Like, having gone back and played some of the older games, they can feel a bit stiff compared to this, I'll tell you that. Granted, this has no business being bad in the gameplay department whatsoever, but when you consider how rushed everything else is, it honestly wouldn't be all that shocking to find that the gameplay was just as haphazardly thrown together, but thankfully it isn't. Like, they're able to keep the core gameplay intact here, and thank goodness for that. One thing that did surprise me is how much mileage I got out of the Sheepinator. Like, I'm not usually one to use this weapon all that much, but in this game, I actually use it for like half of my total playtime. And once you fully upgrade this weapon, it turns your enemies into goats, meaning that all your foes have been goated. No, I do not regret saying that whatsoever. Nor do I regret saying that the ship missions where you're flying around are actually rather decent. Like, I've played enough Ratchet and Clank games to know that vehicle sections aren't always the best and are usually the downer parts, at least for me personally, especially in Ratchet and Clank 2. So at least this game is better than that one in this very specific department. And if you enjoy final bosses that are difficult, then this game will be right up your alley because, oh boy, is this a difficulty spike, you know? Because after playing through the game, you're having a nice, breezy, easy time, just like, hey, this is going to be a nice old time, just go right through it, take no time whatsoever, and then you run into that brick wall known as Dr. Nefarious. Unlike Rift Apart, where you can just throw out all your OP weapons and then just take the boss down in a few moments, nope, that's not how things are going to go down here, not whatsoever. Instead, you're actually going to have to use some legitimate strategy. You have to know what weapons to use at what specific time. And of course, this would be Jim Ward's final performance as Captain Copernicus Quark. And, oh boy, just... no matter what else I say about this game, it's always going to be nice to hear him in that role.
You're reckless, you're a loose cannon, and you're dangerous. That's my shtick.
Look, I think it is beyond adorable that you decided to do all this homework. But big heroes do big things.
And that's the Ratchet and Clank reboot, which is fine, I guess. I mean, you could play better Ratchet and Clank games, especially right now if you have a PlayStation 5, but if you only have a PS4, then... oh boy, I feel really bad for you. Oddly enough, I did have a better time playing this game than others. Like, oh boy, it's probably going to be a hot take, but I had more fun playing this than Doom 2016? It's at this moment I am glad I'm not a popular YouTuber, because just after saying that, I'm pretty certain that the comment section would be an absolute dumpster fire. I hope that the one lesson learned here is that at this point, movie tie-in video games are no longer a viable thing. Like, the amount of time and effort it takes to make a fully fledged video game, you can't be done anymore. You just can't. And this isn't made by some Joe Blow studio. This is both Sony and Insomniac working in tandem, and this is what we got as a result, this rushed mess that, honestly, I'm surprised it's as good as it is. I'm also probably not as harsh on this game as others because I got this shit for free. Yeah, I remember when Sony was giving this game away for free on PS4. Yeah, I snatched up that shit. Like, man, I am glad I didn't actually pay for this. Alright, so what's next? I don't know. Probably some Nintendo video game of sorts. Not sure exactly what, but Nintendo sounds good. I have not reviewed a Nintendo game in so long. It is just, that is criminal, man. I have got to fix that error right now!
I will. Oh, hey!
Quark?
This is awkward.